It's time for season 4 of the Sideshow, and today we're diving into the seedy underbelly of Gotham with the Penguin.
That is the perfect music to introduce the Penguin. Perfect music. Really encapsulates the Penguin well.
It's got me dancing. I could see it playing. It could be playing at the Iceberg Lounge. I could see it.
That laugh is some old school Penguin there. That's Burgess Meredith Penguin.
There we go.
It,
That's a callback. There we go.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Welcome to the Almost Sideshow, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Adam. That is Terry. And of course, with the latest show on HBO Max, The Penguin, it's the follow-up from the 2022 Pinot and Oscar-nominated film, The Batman with Robert Pattinson. Of course, Colin Farrell is not the Joker. He is the Penguin in that movie. He gets his own show on HBO Max. And of course, being Batman fans, we wanted to go into this episode and this season and kind of do what we do best on the Sideshow and start talking about it every episode and give the fun categories that we always do on every single one of these. So I'm pretty excited about this.
Yeah, this is fun. Like you said, season 4 of the Sideshow. We've done a few different iterations of this. This is supposedly just a mini series. It's not like going to be a recurring thing. We've done a mini series before. We started season 1 was Band of Brothers. We've done retro. We've done current. Like our first season was Band of Brothers, retro. Second season, Barry, current. We did the last season in time, like in real time. Season 3, Breaking Bad, retro. And now we're getting into current. We're hitting stride a little late, but not too bad, right? I mean, the debuted like month and a half ago. So, I mean, I think we're good. So I'm excited for this. I was always interested to see what would happen with this show. It was announced pretty soon after the movie came out that they were going to make a show about the Penguin character, which is cool. It's a really interesting character brought to us by Colin Farrell. And I think everyone kind of wanted more from the Penguin in the Batman. And now we get it. And it's kind of neat to see this like crime drama, almost like some sort of like following like a henchman in The Godfather, but in Gotham. And it's kind of a neat take on it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. We get to see some of the stuff with Arkham and Blackgate prisons as well. We see all the underbelly kind of stuff with the Falcones. Kind of a missed opportunity in hindsight, retrospectively speaking. If 2022 Pinos, we didn't nominate Colin Farrell for the Penguin. I think he could have been in the conversation for it in hindsight. We did nominate Barry Keoghan's character, a prison inmate, which we know is going to probably be the Joker. But great character nonetheless. And of course, Paul Dano with the Riddler gets nominated there. And we have, I think you get 3 Pinot noms there. So it's a great franchise and universe that we love talking about. So of course, the Penguin kind of fits right into it. And, I wasn't planning on necessarily watching it, surprisingly. Like, it wasn't like I have to watch it because we were doing other shows. But when we decided like this is the next project, started watching it, I was like, man, I got sucked back into this Batman movie, Batman world and universe again, and I kind of want to go back and watch the 2022 version too.
Oh, that's totally what I was thinking when I first watched the episode. Is I missed that movie. I felt like I should have watched that movie. Maybe we should have sideshowed that movie before we even started the show, because it pulls a lot from it, and I'm trying to remember what exactly was going on in that movie, because there's some definite plot points that are important to know to follow into this. And I hadn't started it either. I don't know why I hadn't started the Penguin when it first came out. Probably because I don't watch much TV unless we're sideshowing it. And it got some great reviews though, so I was like, well, then we should be talking about this. We should be doing it. And I think after we talked about this, after Breaking Bad, doing that for like over a year, we needed a palate cleanser, right? We needed something to like buffer us. We've talked about how we want to do Better Call Saul, which I think is what season 5 of the sideshow is going to be. But we couldn't just jump right into it, right? We needed something to buffer us, something to just kind of cleanse the palate a little bit, flush that out of our system so we can get a fresh take at that. And it's kind of cool that we have something current, something fun that's a short, quick. We know it's going to be done in 8 episodes, and something we were interested in watching to begin with. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for this. Shall we do this? Shall we get it?
The first episode is called After Hours, and it debuted September 19th. And of course, as always, Terry, let's hit us with that synopsis.
Here we go, Penguin, episode 1. The Penguin sets itself up as a direct follow-up / spinoff of The Batman, with Oz watching the city burn after the flood sparked by the Riddler. He's assessing what his life will be like moving forward. His boss and friend, Carmine Falcone, is dead, and his son Alberto is set to take his place at the head of the crime family. That is, until a chance meeting at the former club leads to Alberto getting a bullet to the face thanks to Oz. Now, Oz has to hide the body. But first, he has to fend off a crew of juvenile delinquents trying to strip his plum-colored car of its rims. He scares off most of them, but the last one he kind of captures and recruits. His name is Victor, and he helps him move the body to an abandoned car in a junkyard, secure an alibi, and burn some evidence. Instead of disposing of his new loose end, Oz decides to keep Vic around to help him out a while. Now to deal with the Falcones. No one knows where Alberto is, but they wanted to inform Oz that they were shutting down his drug plant after the flood damage. Oz tries to save some of his influence by claiming Alberto's new drug deal as his own. Enter Sofia Falcone, Alberto's sister, who has just been released from Arkham as a rehabilitated murderer. Oz and Sofia definitely have a history that we don't fully know yet. Sofia has a pretty good idea Oz is responsible for Alberto's disappearance, but he is able to stave off enough suspicion for now. After a visit to his mother's, as Oz tries to protect her from potential fallout from his ill-advised murder, his mom tells him to fight back. So, instead of running, he goes to prison to visit Salvatore Maroni, former employer of Oz and rival crime boss of the Falcones. He delivers the Maroni ring that the Falcones had taken from him, but also doesn't leave on the greatest of terms. After a failed attempt to spy on Sofia, he is chased down and captured, tortured for information on Alberto. He says he doesn't know, even though one of Vic's friends places him in the same spot. Oz calls him a liar. Sofia shoots him in the face. Oz seems doomed until Vic sends an anonymous message, crashing the junkyard car in the Falcone front yard with Alberto still in the trunk. Inside the trunk is written "Payback," with Maroni holding his ring again. Maroni has been successfully set up for Alberto's murder, and Oz appears to have started a new war among the families. A war where he sees himself as a potential top benefactor. I think I summed that up well. There's a lot going on, and I feel like I was missing a lot of references from the first movie, but that's what I came up with.
No, I think that was really good. I think that there, obviously, Sofia Falcone was a character that was not in that original movie, or neither, I believe Alberto wasn't either. But, you know, having that player and the Sofia being the aka the Hangman, as that's what she was called in Arkham, I'm really interested to see more of her backstory. Super interesting character and performance. A very menacing, like like crazed eye. There's a craziness in her eyes, like, and even her music with the violin, like that she like her smile disappears at the diner or when they're eating after they're eating lunch or whatever. That whole scene was awesome. This is very interesting, and Colin Farrell like does not look like or sound like Colin Farrell in this, and he walks with that limp all the time, and the makeup work is fantastic. He like does not resemble this guy either. Another just like awesome performance, and he had a great performance in 2022 with Banshees of Inisherin, a Pinot winning performance there. But Colin Farrell just like nothing, like he's been in this suit forever. So he is Oz, and he's just bleeds perfectly into that. And it's a very underappreciated high war performance. Like I can't picture anybody doing that specific Penguin character other than him, and with all that makeup on. So it's a good first episode, a little slower pace, but it definitely builds out that world, and you can feel a lot of different things. A lot of plates are spinning, if you will.
Yeah, I remember back when the Batman came out and thinking, how in the world is that Colin Farrell? Because you can't tell. But we got so little of him, and now he's carrying everything. He's in every scene of this episode, and you still can't tell. Like every now and then I could kind of get a little glimmer in his eyes. I'm like, oh yeah, that's Colin Farrell. There is a little Colin Farrell behind there, but like disappearing into a role. I remember when the Batman came out, the jokes were Richard Kind must not have been available, right? Because that's kind of basically what he looks like. This is different. This is someone completely different, and you can't make that comparison anymore. Yeah, it was a good episode. A lot happened. Like I wonder if this is going to be something where I almost felt like I needed to watch the episode twice to catch everything. And like I said, I felt like I needed to watch the Batman again, but I didn't have 3 hours to do it, so I didn't. And because wasn't it like I gotta look? I got the page up here. 2 hours and 56 minutes. Yeah, it's a great movie. I didn't have that much time, so I mean it's. I watching this, like I said, there's a lot that happens. I wonder if this is just the setup episode, right? Is it going to slow down now that it has established who the players are, what the setting is? I feel like we're going to have kind of this cat and mouse game, yeah, we're recording this right around when the last episode is coming out. We're starting from scratch, so if you've been watching along the whole time, you're going to listen to this and be like, these guys are idiots. They don't know what's about to come. And that's valid. We've seen the first episode, but it'll be interesting to see how fast it moves after this. If it still feels like I need to go back and watch the Batman again to really understand everything that's happening. I feel not, though. It's like if I needed to, it was going to be to understand some of the context of this first episode. And now it's kind of established who the players are, right? We know who we're going to be following. We know what the main part is. One thing I will say that kind of felt a little odd, the movie, one of the things that made the movie so cool was this, it being like this neo film noir crime caper, super dark, super broody, like it had this vibe to it. And this has changed some of that. It feels a little more poppy. It feels a little more consumable in like it's a TV show now, it's not a movie. And it like the color palette has changed, right? Like it's like a nice day when he goes and visits his mom, and when he goes and visits the Falcons. You never saw blue sky in
that's
the
also
Batman.
Probably a different part of Gotham too. It's the outskirts, the suburbs.
True, but it just feels, you can tell just by the vibe, this feels like a different city than what you saw in the Batman. So that was one thing I was like, oh, that kind of bums me out a little bit because I understand taking a slightly different approach to it. Sure, that makes perfect sense. But to change so much that it feels that different, I was a little eh. But I'm excited for what's to come. Like now that it's established it, I'm getting over my it's not the Batman. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's a different perspective, but different story. So now it's like a mobster movie, mobster show. So
Yeah. Yeah. All right, well, let's get into our categories here. We always bust out some categories that we do for these sideshows, looking at different aspects and over analyzing each episode. First one, we always want to start with Adam. What is the best scene in this episode?
the best scene of this episode, I think for me, there's three really standout scenes here. But the one I will choose, I think Oz meets with Salvatore Moroni. I think that scene in Blackgate Prison is phenomenal. I really like Clancy Brown in it as Salvatore. That whole scene where they're like playing each other out. It's like I never liked you. And he's like, well, I got this ring here. He's like, oh, where did you get this from? Oh, the Falcones. You know, they had it. So, but now you can have it back wearing it in a Blackgate. So now it's like, oh wait, they cut off, and then it sets up perfectly with the end scene where he's missing his pinky because that's the that's the finger that he had the ring on. And it's like, oh, he's got his ring back, so it sets up another like gang warfare, and Cobblepot is just you know, just there being a benefactor of it. So that whole setup there was awesome. How it's shot, the back and forth between the two. One side of the table. Like the intro to his character is also really interesting. He walks in, he's like, "That's not my table." He starts walking to a different table, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I guess I'll wobble over here." So it's great. I love that scene. Some good performances there too.
Yeah, that is a good one. That's a good one. The one I'm going to go with is right up top. Oz and Alberto sit down for a
Ooh, okay,
drink.
I didn't have that one. Okay, I got you. Good one.
Because you get this idea they're sizing each other up, right? Because
Yeah.
you've got this almost rivalry but friendship at the same time where
Respectful, like back and forth. Yeah.
Oz kind of maybe had some thoughts that he would be the guy, but it got passed down through the family instead. And so Oz is looking at a rival, trying to treat him as his boss. And Alberto's just a little punk that that doesn't know how to not poke the bear.
Yep.
And he pokes a little too hard and gets a couple bullets to the chest.
Yeah.
So
Pop.
pop. Yeah, and that's the reaction you get.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was such a cool, like I'm watching, I'm like, oh, this is a neat dynamic between these two, and it's gonna be interesting to see this play. Nope, he's dead.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's good. It's gonna be interesting to get this punk kid the whole season. That's gonna be like gonna be his foe the entire show. Oh no, but not just this is the opening 20 minutes. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, instead we get the foe being Sophia, and the other scene I had was the torture scene.
Yeah,
and just how
yeah,
and how she's just kind of staring him down like, am I crazy? And
yeah.
Oz is looking at like, I mean, kinda.
You're a little crazy. Yeah,
You are a little crazy. She's got the
and
crazy
I'm
eyes,
attracted
man.
to it. Yeah, I'm attracted to your crazy.
That is
Cut me with that piano wire.
yeah. Oz is definitely he's got something for her, and eventually it might be a bullet, but right now it's something else.
Yeah, something else. I also had Sophia and Oz enjoying their meal. I thought that was really getting double. I was reminded quickly of, is that Lydia ordering that dirty martini with 3 olives? Very specific order. Keep them coming, boys.
Yeah. It was a very specific order.
Yeah.
Douchebag of the episode.
You go ahead.
Alberto.
Yeah.
Like he's He's like the only. I mean, he's not the only answer. There's a lot of douchebags in this show. I mean, it's a story about crime families.
Yeah, in
But
Gotham.
the punk kid that is the nepo baby, which is the only reason he has anything in his entire life. Yeah, and he gets himself shot because the second in command he pokes at and makes fun of a little too much. You don't mess with Oz. Like, you don't need to. I mean, just look at him. He's seen some things, man. You
Hey,
don't
don't
mess
poke the
with
penguin.
that.
Don't poke him.
Yeah, don't poke the penguin.
Hey, don't poke the penguin. Yeah, that's a good douchebag. I did have him down too, but I also had a backup because I figured that was the go-to answer. But I picked Milo Grappa, which is one of the guys, James Mardio character. Because right when he comes out to the car and he sees Alberto, he's like, "What the?" And he's like thrown off. Like, there's a dead body in the car. Like, what's going on? And yeah, it's a great yeah, Milo Grappa. That'll be my other douchebag here.
That's fair. All right. Let's see here. What do we got next? Stickman.
That's gonna be Alberto, because if anybody's getting it in the night that his dad died, he'd be a little somber, shed a tear, go out boozing, lay it in. He's gonna lay some pipe, probably.
Yep. That's not bad. I didn't want to put him twice, so I didn't have him there. So, but I didn't have anyone else that was really good. So I decided, you know what? I'm going with the drag queens.
That's a good call.
That they're probably pretty effective in their prowess.
Eve.
Yeah.
Carlo. Yeah. So wait, who was in that photo? Because whoever was in the photo at the Iceberg Lounge, which member is he trying to blackmail there? Because there was somebody getting in a photo.
Oh, I think it was what's his name? The one that was with Milo.
Yeah, who was that other? He's the guy that's always like in any black op.
Yeah, he's in like everything. Is it this one? No, it's not that one. I know the face, but I'm trying to find it in the Michael Kelly as Johnny Vitti.
Johnny Vitti, Johnny Vitti.
That's the guy.
That's the stickman, I should say, Johnny Vitti, because it's there's photographic evidence he got it in. Johnny Vitti.
This is true.
I'm gonna change it on my list, my spreadsheet here.
That's a good call. Okay. Now, we always talk about best new face. And we did this for Barry, we did this for Breaking Bad. There are so many recognizable faces in this, and I wonder how many of them are going to stick around for the whole time. But what was the biggest face that when it popped up, you went, "Oh, hey, that guy's in it, or that girl's in it"?
Yeah, it's Clancy Brown, Salvatore. Yeah, Shawshank, Starship Troopers. Yeah, that's a great actor there. Really, I was like, hey, it's that guy. I know him. He's rocking that the Boondock Saints goat beard and white beard and long hair going there. So I liked that. Yeah, so Clancy Brown is who I got here.
That's a good one. Yeah, there's so many you could go with here. Clancy Brown's a great one. Michael Kelly is another good one that we mentioned. But the one I'm going with is one you've already mentioned, James Madio as Milo, because this is the second time we've sideshowed him. He plays Sergeant Perconti in Band of Brothers, and so whenever I see him, I always think of Perconti. Like, he showed up, I'm like, wait, it's old Perconti. He was a kid in Band of Brothers. He's one of the ones that had $1 million wound at one point. But yeah, he's the one that gives all the grief to O'Keefe and keeps on calling him O'Brien.
Okay. Yeah. Now I've put a face to him. Okay.
Yeah. Just picture Milo's face, but no gray hair, all black hair, and no goatee. And that would be O'Brien. Gotcha. So yeah, it was cool to see him. He looks so much different now, being all old and stuff.
Yeah,
because that was 23 years ago that Band of Brothers came out. But it's always cool to see to see James Madio pop up and stuff. And whenever he does, it's Percani. If you click on his face on IMDb, one of the pictures it shows like on the homepage is him and Band of Brothers.
Nice, so that's awesome.
Anyways, that was my pick.
Good call.
Okay. New category. We are talking a movie centered around superhero villains, right? This is we always have so many like superhero villain stories now, but I feel like this one's gonna be a little different. Best weapon. There's some very creative weapons in this. What was your best weapon?
I think there's really two that like gadget weapon, like there's two here that are for sure pretty damn awesome. But the air freshener, I was not expecting it to be like blades on the end of it. I just which is awesome.
Yeah, what kind of air freshener has like literal razor blades on the other side? Like that doesn't make sense.
He pointed out to what Victor, he's like that air freshener, aquatic breeze or whatever he said. It's aquatic breezed. Yeah, it smells good. Yeah.
No reason it should be that pointy.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he just picks it up and stabs the guy in the face with it. Like that's brilliant. Or the neck, whatever he stabbed him with. That's a great weapon there.
That's a good one. That's a good one. So I'll go with the other one, and the other one is of course wire. That piano wire, like trying to take off Oz's arm. I mean, he's got enough limb problems. What are we doing here? Don't hurt his arms too.
It's beef. It's what's for dinner. Like that's like there's a lot of beef on that man. Like that piano wire can cut through a lot of stuff, but it's gonna be there for a little bit. I think
it's gonna take some work. It's gonna take some work. All right. This is one we'll throw out there. I don't know how well we're gonna use it, but we'll try. The best callback of the episode. Like this is based off of an existing character from a comic book. There's a lot of rich stuff in the comic book. This is a character that has been portrayed by Burgess Meredith. It's been portrayed by Danny DeVito.
Yep.
It's been, I feel like, it was in Gotham. It was portrayed by, I forget his name, but it was a very different portrayal in Gotham. It was a skinny, wimpy guy. Really, really fascinating portrayal in that show. I didn't watch all of it, but I really liked what he brought to it. What was his name? His name was Robin Lord Taylor. He played Penguin in that show, in 100 episodes of that show. That was a cool one. But what was your favorite callback, or did you come up with a callback? Did you see a callback that you liked to something? Now you're kind of the comic book expert here. You're like. You know, because you watch animated Batman. Like I've never seen an episode of animated Batman, let alone a movie. You've got a little more context into the world of Gotham City.
Yeah. So one of my favorite voice actors. This was not a callback, but I do want to mention Nolan North. He's played a lot of video game characters too, but he's also played the Penguin in the Arkham video games, which are by Rocksteady, which is fantastic games. Primarily Arkham City, which is the second game, the Penguin is featured prominently. So one of my favorite things in those games, in that game and also in Gotham Knights, which is not the greatest one, but the Iceberg Lounge has always been a very fascinating place where he likes to roam around, and that's his headquarters type of thing, right in the open. Granted, we did spend some time in Iceberg Lounge in the movie too, so going back there for this one and seeing that it's fully stocked still, which is great, but it's definitely closed. It's run down. It's awesome to see. It's definitely awesome to see the Iceberg Lounge back. So I don't think we're going to get the Iceberg Lounge too much in this show, but it's cool to see for this callback for this episode.
I don't know. We might. It's his place, so
it is. But it's very well. It would be weird to have the Penguin not have like this like big bar lounge place there where he can just can roam around. So definitely a lot of iterations in the lore of the Penguin. too.
Yeah, when you see him pop into the Iceberg Lounge, you go, "Oh, I remember this place from the movie."
Yeah.
Like so much happens at the Iceberg in the movie that
Mhm.
it's a good one. I didn't have anything for this. I couldn't find anything there. But let's go on to favorite minor character slash henchman.
Mhm.
So it could be a henchman, it could be just someone that you liked. I'll go first on this one. I thought about henchman, but really when I thought about it, my favorite minor character in this, and I don't know how minor she's going to be moving forward, but it's Frances Cobb, Oz's mom.
Good call.
Fascinating character.
Yeah.
She's starts off looking very, frail and weak, but she's like the only one that can call Oz out on anything. She's the only one that he can be fully transparent with. I mean, except for maybe Vic. It's feeling like he might end up being quite the confidant there.
Mhm.
But Frances is an interesting one, and she's only got one scene in this episode. But I could see her continuing to pop up as, you feel like every great villain, or at least every great crime boss, their mom is like a driving force in their insanity.
Yeah. Say
And
hello to your mother to me. For me. Yeah. Say hello to my
yeah,
mother.
say hello to your mother for me. Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
So Frances Cobb, Mom Cobb is a good
Mob
one.
Mother Cobb. That's a good one. I had Eve Carlo. It's the girl that he goes to and
Ah,
says, "Hey,
his alibi.
his alibi." I was like, "I got an alibi." Okay, that's fine. Not before 10 p.m. Okay, you're on. So hell yeah,
Which makes you wonder, what was she doing before 10 p.m.?
somebody else.
Stickman.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But yeah, Eve Carlo, and he's like, "Yeah, the alibi checked out. You had an alibi." But and then yeah, so it's pretty. Yeah, Eve Carlo. I think that character comes back because I think yeah, I
It's a
think
good
that
one.
character will come back.
It's a good one. Best line of the episode. My like I was writing feverishly to keep up with notes of what exactly was going on.
Yeah.
I didn't get to pay too close attention to the specific dialogue of what was happening.
Mhm.
But one that I wrote down that stood out to me like immediately, well, two. One is my banner where
Mhm.
where Oz is talking to his mom about killing Alberto. And he says, "It was impulsive. It was stupid." And she goes, "It was not impulsive. It was instinctual. You
Yeah.
hated him." I was like, "Oh, that's a good line." And
Yeah.
then the other one was, she looks at him and is like, "I didn't raise a big pussy boy. You're my big, strong bull boy." And I'm like, what? That's such an odd way of putting it, but okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Mom Cobb.
Mom Cobb strikes back with the good lines. It's a good one. But yeah, this is so we come up with these. This first episode is always like when we're trying to like, hey, what categories do we want to do? So didn't have something right off the cuff for this one, but I do like the very end. Like he's like, hey, we said we're gonna cut the fingers off and cut the head off and then have that in the car, but yeah, it's the first time type of thing. It's like I guess we'll let it pass. So I try to, but I think it's a purple car. It's technically plum with leather interior. That's comes with leather interior. Yeah, it's plum. So another character with a purple aura. Yeah, that's what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
the aura is purple. Is
Yeah,
it? There's a little De Niro in Oz Cobb, right? Like there's a
yeah,
little De Niro in what Colin Farrell's doing. Like maybe he's the only other one that could play this. You throw that makeup on De Niro and look
it's,
about the same.
it's plum. It's plum.
It,
Yeah,
the color's plum. It's plum.
talking to me. Talking to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see it. I can see it. Okay. Did you have any problems with this episode?
Oh, okay. No,
No.
just slower paced. I haven't. No, I'm not because it's such a new show. I know I'm not. I don't see any problems with it yet. No.
And like I said, the one thing I had mentioned was just the changing in like the color palette, changing in the vibe from the first one or from the movie. Throws you off at first, but once you settle into it, it's pretty good. All right. This was in season 3. This was called the midlife crisis moment. In season 2, this was called the Barry relatable moment. We don't have a fancy name for it yet, but what was the most relatable moment a character had in this episode for you?
Just enjoying a slush puppy, man. Like going to buddy's grocery, just kind of sitting back in a slush puppy. I used to do that when I lived down. I was a kid, and I was in kindergarten, first grade. When we lived down in Georgia down there, and we had slush puppies. We had like a little gas station right around the corner from us. We lived in this trailer park down there, and or housing development, whatever. And there was like a big lake there. We would walk around the little lake there, go to the little grocery store with my dad and my mom, and get some slush puppies and walk back. It was a good time. So I was like, oh, I hadn't heard of slush puppies in a long time. So yeah, good old slush puppy. And then it was like, oh, it's the slush puppy dog. Hell yeah. So Buddy's Grocery. There we go.
You gotta mix the flavors.
Yeah.
You gotta mix the flavors. Yeah. One thing I always find funny is and obviously, I mean, Gotham is New York City, right? It's usually a New York thing.
Chicago too.
Yeah, but I mean, talking Upper West Side and stuff like this is New York.
It's definitely New York, yeah.
And it's a total New York thing to have the whole oh, you're from that neighborhood? I'm from that neighborhood. Oh, hey, you remember that one spot on the corner of such and such and such and such? Did you ever go there? Oh, you did go there? Oh, man. Like that is a total like New York thing. I can't relate to that. But the one thing I did have as my most relatable moment. After a long, hard day, all you want to do is take off your shoes and rub your feet. I mean, you don't have to have like completely weird deformed feet like Oz does to really just, my feet hurt at the end of a day. And just to take off the shoes and rub the feet for a little while. I mean, that's quite therapeutic there.
Therapeutic, yeah. Good call.
All right. LVP of episode 1.
Easily using the drugs that were clearly submerged in water and reselling them. A little bit of water damage, but hey, we'll make do. They can't tell the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's just knowing your clientele. Maybe, I don't know. It's not 96%. I can tell you that.
That's true. That's true.
The purity level is really low.
Yeah, I think Oz has Declan working for him, not Heisenberg.
Not the other guy. Yeah.
My LVP is casting Mark Strong to play John Turturro, playing Carmine Falcone. John Turturro plays Carmine in the movie. I understand not getting the same guy, which makes me wonder why recast him? Like he's got to like play Roland's like some flashbacks, or did he fake his death or something? Why do we have a new actor?
Yeah,
portraying a dead guy,
for a guy laying down in the middle of the street with a blanket over his face. Like you don't really see him yet.
And it's not even. I mean, it's a recognizable face. Like so, Mark Strong is taking over for John Turturro. So my LVP is casting Mark Strong to play John Turturro, because Mark Strong looks nothing like John Turturro.
Yeah,
like it looked like a car. He looked like a cartoon in the cutout in the news footage.
Yeah, and Mark Strong was also in Green Lantern, so that's a good call. LVP.
MVP.
Oz. That plan's pretty brilliant so far. He's yeah. I think so. I like the plan.
That worked better than it should have.
Didn't think it was going to work, but it did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My MVP is Cristin Milioti. Oh my word! I did not know she had this in her.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, as some people, I know Todd looks at Cristin Milioti and it's like, oh, it's what's his name's first wife in Wolf of Wall Street. I look at Cristin Milioti and go, it's the mother in How I Met Your Mother. And that's the context I have for her. Like, that's who she is, right? You probably didn't even realize that one.
I didn't realize that. No.
But like she plays, that's the type of role I think of her in. I don't think of her as or Palm Springs,
Palm
right? She's the
Springs,
main
yeah.
character in Palm Springs with Andy Samberg. I don't think of her as, potential Arkham inmate crime boss. And that's what we got. And she's got those big eyes, and when she can flash them and charm, or now she's flashing them and being crazy. And like, you look at her and you totally understand where Oz is, and he's like, you're insane, but I also kind of like you, because those 1 second those eyes are crazy, and the next second they're gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. Good call. Yeah, that's a good one.
So casting Cristin Milioti, like, she is going to be a lot of fun to watch in this.
Yeah, definitely agree.
All right. So we're going to talk about what we think is coming up next. We'll spend a little bit of time on that, but we have the Penguin puts on ice count, which is his body count. I have it at 2.5. I'm going 2.5. He shot Alberto. We've got air freshener guy. And I'm doing 1/2 because his lying forced Sofia to put a bullet in Vic's friend's head.
It would almost be maybe more interesting to see who kills the most people by the end of the season. Is it the Penguin? So it's the put on ice count, not the Penguin put on ice. It's the put on ice count.
The put on ice count.
Yeah. So we have one for Sofia and one for the Penguin, or two for the Penguin.
This is the POI count.
Yeah.
So we've got. All right, I like this. I like this. So Oz is at 2. Sofia's at 1.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Should we say? I'm gonna say Vic is at 0.1 for his inability to mutilate a dead body.
0.1.
It almost should be -1. Should he be? He's like at -1/2. That's what I'm saying. He's at negative. Vic's at -1/2.
It's like
for not being able to mutilate the dead body. Yeah. And were there any other deaths? I don't think there were.
Only the 3 deaths in the show so far.
Okay. So that's what we're going with. So Oz is in the lead. Sofia's in second at 1. Vic is behind every other character in the entire show at -1/2 for his inability
not
to mutilate
in the show yet.
Yes, including characters. It's kind of like it's when you turn on the golf tournament and it's round 1, and a couple groups have come out, and there's that guy who got the triple bogey on the first hole in the first group. It's like you're behind everyone who hasn't even started playing yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's Vic. That's Vic right now.
Yeah.
So, all right, we've got 7 episodes of this coming up. Where do you think we're going in this? And again, this is fully accepting the fact that a lot of people listening to this have probably already watched the entire show, which is fine. But
great.
If you haven't, watch along with us. I think it's going to be a fun ride. But what do you think's coming up?
I would love to see the backstory of what happened at Arkham with Sofia. I want to see that what went down with that.
How she got there.
Mm-hmm.
And how Oz played a role. You get the idea. Oz kind of played a role in maybe getting her there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think that's cool. I'm interested to see if there's any other like callbacks to maybe not like you don't see them in their villain persona, but like a Dr. Crane, right? Someone like Jonathan Crane, like that's Scarecrow. Like you see somebody, like you mentioned somebody's name. You could do the Mad Hatter. This weird Calendar Man. You can do like there's so many different villains. You can just say their names because you mentioned Arkham and you mentioned Blackgate. How much time are we going to spend in these places? Could be interesting. And do we see an appearance from Barry Keoghan as his inmate person? Would that'd be kind of an interesting way to end the show, as that's like the ending shot? Because they are making the Batman 2 comes out. So how much?
Let's just keep teasing Barry Keoghan and never actually show him. I like this plan.
I like it. It's great. It's a great plan. I love it.
And it can be the last shot of Batman 2 also.
It could be. Just keep showing him.
Just keep teasing it.
And we'll keep nominating him too. Okay.
I love it. Yeah. I'm interested to see I feel like it's set up a really interesting cat and mouse game between Oz and Sophia,
Yeah.
and you've got this like this part-time lover, part-time I want to murder you vibe going on, especially from Sophia, and Oz is just trying to survive. I love portraying Oz as this guy who doesn't really have a side because his side is him.
Yeah.
And I remember, did you ever watch Gotham?
No.
Okay. I didn't watch a ton of it. I watched like the first couple seasons and I really liked it. It was just one of those shows where you start and then at some point you go, oh, hey, I haven't watched any of that in like 3 months. But one of the things I liked about Gotham is it really portrayed Oswald Cobblepot in that way of he doesn't have a side. His side is him. His loyalty is what he thinks is going to improve his standing. And you see what Oz is doing in this episode. That's totally where he's landing, right? Like he's a Falcone and he's loyal to the Falcones, but he's gonna play the system and try and get the Maronis and Falcones feuding, and it might lead to him being on top. And how much of that is Sophia gonna see through, and how much is their relationship going to play in where his loyalties end up lying, how far he actually gets, and what's gonna foil the plot. Like something's gonna end his or at least throw the kinks into his plan. And what is it gonna be? I think that's gonna be fun to see.
That's gonna be good. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. And then I would also like a meeting with Sophia and Salvatore. That would be Salvatore. Yeah, that would be an interesting scene. Now,
Mm-hmm.
after we see that, so yeah, this would be interesting. It's going to be a good show so far. It's a good first episode.
Yeah, definitely sets the stage well. Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
So, all right. Well, that's I think what's a good spot to end the episode. We're gonna go fill up on our dirty martinis with 3 olives. Till next time, guys. Come back to the site though for more Penguin. Talking to me.
Yeah, talking to me. Talking to me.